Hello, welcome to another video. Today I am going through a few soundbars made by Bose, and I'm just exploring what's inside the soundbar in terms of the difference on the models that I'm looking at. So here I've got the Bose Smart 300 soundbar. Here I've got the Bose earlier model of the 300, which is the Sound Touch 300, and then I've got the latest soundbar 900, which is the smart, which has built-in Alexa and also Google. So just to quickly go through these, this soundbar is the first edition on the Bose models, which is kind of small, but if we go back a few years, Bose have released a Sound Touch, which is pretty much based on the same design as a nice clear glass on top, and also it feels quite heavy compared to this one here. It's not as heavy, and this is the 900, which compares very similar in terms of its design to the Bose soundbar. If we look at the back on these soundbars, we have the HDMI. We've got the service area, which is for Bose, and then we've got the optical in, and we've got the bass module if somebody wants to connect the bass module via the port, and also we've got the IR, I presume that's the infrared port, and also we've got the power, and that's mains powered. However, if we look at the soundbar 500, that uses a power supply, which is the adapter to operate. I don't have that right now, the 500 that's with me, because it's actually mounted on the wall, but the 300 and the 300 with Sound Touch, they are all direct main supply and they do not need an adapter. However, I would say that the 500 is slightly slimmer than the 300 Smart because of the power supply has been taken out and it's been added as an adapter. In terms of sound, let's have a quick glance at the internals of this. So if we open this up and just turn it over, we will find 1, 2, 3, 4 drivers in Sound Smart 300, whereas one's pointing to the left, right, and 2 drivers in the front. And then we also have a little tiny tweeter in the middle, which I believe is for the treble. So, and it's pretty sealed, and sound is actually pointing in different directions, so it fills up the room, of course. Whereas if we now look at the 300 and just flip it over and have a quick look at that, and the drivers on the 300 I will show you once. As soon as I remove the grill, you'll notice that the grill will easily come off. Here we are. Let's remove the grill. The drivers on the 300 Sound Touch, which is the previous model, had 1, 2, 3, 4 drivers, 1 to each, exactly the same as the new one. However, it was not directional, so it was not pointing in other directions. Also, I have noticed that it also has this, the tweeters, I would like to say, which is for high frequencies, and those are on the front here as well. And this soundbar, I would say that it's more in terms of its configuration, it has more speakers than the previous model. And now moving on to the 900, which is the beast, and has Dolby Atmos speakers in the front pointing upwards. So if we just flip this over and look inside, I have removed a circuit board from here so you can actually see what's inside here. So the 900 has 1 and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 speakers here, whereas the 300 from the SoundJet series has, if we look here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 7, and this one was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, for Dolby Atmos we've got 2 big drivers pointing at the top here, and if we look at the speakers, it's pretty much the same, I would say, as the 300. Let's see if we can get success in taking the grill out so we can actually have a comparison. Oh yeah, there we go, the grill's out. Now if we put the SoundTouch 300 and the 900 together, you would notice that the drivers are the same. You can see that right now. So the 900 only consists of 2 extra drivers pointing upwards for Dolby Atmos, but in terms of its configuration, the front, I don't see any difference other than the fact that it's slightly bigger because it had to compensate for these extra drivers on either end, but in the middle it's exactly the same. So if we're looking for something that is going to produce good sound, I would go for the SoundTouch, the older model, because it's based on exactly the same setup as the 900 apart from the drivers. I'm sure that the quality on the 900 is slightly better because of the firmware and everything, but in terms of the drivers, I really don't see any difference. They are identical, and also the hardware is identical as well, because if you see here, this is the circuit from the 900 and that goes in here, whereas 300 is pretty much similar as well. It does have extra chips here as well, for obviously for the enhanced sound, but as it stands, because it was always in my mind to figure out what the exact difference is. Also in terms of its inputs, the 300, the older model, has HDMI in and also has HDMI out, which is the best thing about this, is that you don't lose a HDMI port, whereas if we look at the newer soundbar, even this is the latest one, SoundTouch 900, it only has HDMI in, so which means that if we use HDMI from the television, we would lose that HDMI port completely, and it's pointless. And I did have that conversation with Bose, but they just said that this is the way they chose to design this soundbar. But I think if I was to review the design, definitely would stick to the design on the 300 SoundTouch, because when you get soundbar in, you always get a HDMI out as well, which then means that you can continue using the HDMI port and it won't go dedicated to the soundbar itself. In terms of sound, at the moment I haven't turned this on yet because obviously it's all open, but the sound is very good on these soundbars either way. So the whole purpose of this video was to show you the insides of the 900, which is the latest and also in the higher price bracket. It can touch up to £800–900, whereas the SoundTouch, you can pick these up for around about 300, not from Bose, but from it's from somebody who pre-owned it and they want to sell it off. And also with the latest SoundTouch 300, as you can see, the it's quite small in profile. We have lost some of the speakers on this in terms of drivers, they reduce those, and presumably they claim that the sound is equally as loud. But if we're actually reducing the drivers, clearly the sound will get compromised as well. The thing that I don't like about these soundbars, the new ones, that the volume, there's no sign of volume high and low. So when we're increasing the volume, there is no light apart from the one flashing light which tells you that you're touching the remote, and that's it. So I did say this to Bose, and I think they are going to review and perhaps put in a firmware update, because there is a sound and there is a light here that goes from left to right, but when you're increasing and decreasing the volume, all it does, it just flickers one side, that's it. So we need to actually get this reviewed by Bose to make sure that they do update their firmware so they can show what level the sound is at, because there have been times where I have increased the volume and I don't know what level it's at, and it can go really high. However, if you're using the Bose Music app, that would show you what the volume is, but who wants to open a phone every time you want to touch the volume? On the soundbar 300, it's pretty much the same. They never had any volume or lights in this. All it has is LEDs in the front flashing, and that's pretty much it. That's no different, and the 900 is equally the same as the 300 Sound Touch, or sorry, Sound Smart, is that it doesn't give you any indication of what the volume is, it just flashes the light. But I think you guys can now see the difference between the 300 and the 900, and you can work out that if you're not into Dolby Atmos, don't go for the newer one, because it's just very little, and it'll probably cost you more to get a smaller one than an older model, and it'll give you equally as good sound. So because the 900 is based on the same profile as the old SoundTouch 300. Obviously they made it they call it now smart soundbar, because they have the app and Google and Alexa and all of that stuff. So that's why they've given it a new name. And also the inputs here, it's got a LAN input, it's got the optical input, and then you've got the on the 900 the base module input, the data cable, infrared adaptec for the sound configuration, and the calibration of the sound. So that's all in all the models, so that's no different. But I guess welcome to the latest 900 soundbar. I don't think playing these soundbars on YouTube is any benefit to anyone, because it's not going to sound any different. So it's most important to see what's inside these soundbars, and do we actually find it beneficial to change them, or shall we, if somebody's got a 300, just stick to it. There's no need to just keep upgrading it unless there is a very good reason to do so. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I have upgraded my camera, so I've got a different camera now, so hopefully we should be able to give you good quality videos. And if there's any questions, feel free to ask. I have come across these, and I saved a lot of time and effort to open these up, because as you can see from the screws, I'm not talking about one screw here. It's pretty much a good 50 odd, if I say so, amongst all of them. So there's quite a lot of screws to open up. So yeah, this is just for detailing the inside of a soundbar 900, 300 Sound Touch, and Smart Soundbar 300 as well. But until next time, thanks for watching. Bye for now.